been previously, but can you give us an update on Martin, on Bukayo, Max, and also Leo came off late in that game against Sunderland?
Yeah, Max is still not available. The rest we will see when we make the medical meeting.
How's Max doing in his recovery?
He's doing very well. I think he will be with us in a week or so, and then he just needs to pick up the rhythm and be available for us.
I saw Mikel posted a picture across the socials, had his operation. How did it go? And is there any timeline at all about when we could see him? Could we see him before the end of the season?
Well, I think the doctors were really happy the way it went. Now it starts obviously a long process. You're talking about bone healing, so you need to be patient. You respect the timings. I'm sure Mikel is going to do everything that he possibly can to speed up that recovery. And the time frames, we're talking about months, whether it's 3 or 4 or 5, we don't know.
There was a lot of noise over the weekend about the City-Liverpool game, and lots of Arsenal fans were watching it, and I think lots of Arsenal fans were a little bit disappointed at the end that City were able to come back. Did you watch it? What did you make of the game?
I understand that, but it's the things that we cannot control. So it's completely up to us what we have to do. We have to focus on us, on the presence. We know everything, and just enjoy.
I imagine they'd have watched it as well, and 9 points is, of course, better than 6. But what's their reaction been? Have you had to give them a message?
They were really happy when we beat Sunderland, because we knew that was going to be very tough. Then everybody's in his houses watching it. We have discussed about the way we have to take this constantly and just put all the energy in what we do. That's it.
And is there a message that, obviously there's so many ups and downs, changes throughout the title race, so the fact that you're going to be playing twice before when City only played once, so that gap could keep increasing as well. So just remain focused?
Remain focused, because that's going to happen from now till the end of the season, and it has happened in the last 6 months. So for us it's something normal, natural, and I'm looking forward to it.
And look, there's big news this morning about a fellow manager, Thomas Frank, losing his job. Just wanted to, first of all, get your reaction to the news.
Well, obviously very sad news when you have a colleague that doesn't continue doing his job, because Thomas is an excellent coach. He's an extraordinary man as well, and he's proven that in the league. So we know where we are. We know that our responsibility is beyond just performance. That sometimes result dictates what happens with us. So I wish him all the very best for whatever he decides to do next.
Is the Premier League becoming more impatient these days?
I don't know. I don't think you can just take every example in the same possible way. I think the context at every club it's very different, but it's always a possibility.
And look, obviously people are going to compare Arsenal and Tottenham, they're rivals playing against each other next weekend. When you look at the two clubs, and since you've joined Arsenal, Tottenham have had 8 different managers in the dugout in that time. Is there an argument of what you're doing, that stability, time, patience, first of all, the success that can bring, second of all, what's been the key to maintaining that stability, not just from the players, but it's also throughout the whole club as well?
Yeah, but I think every era is different at every club, because we have in this Premier League 2 of the most iconic managers with Arsene and Sir Alex as well for so many years, and then that scenario changed a lot from both clubs. So I don't know. It depends on many factors. In my opinion, the first one is if you have the players right behind you and they enjoying what they do and they believe in what you do is a big thing. And then you have to win a lot of games, because at the end, if you don't do that, you're not going to continue in the job, and that's the reality of our job.
Thanks, Mikel.
For Charlie from the Premier League.
Mikel, just thinking about the managers who've been sacked already this year, including Frank, who are different phases of their respective projects at their respective clubs. How do you feel that you have been given the time here at Arsenal, and there seems to be that fit between you and the club, and the project is coming along nicely, I would say?
Well, creating that chemistry with everybody in and around the club, and most importantly, win a lot of games. At the end, is the percentage of wins that you win has to be really high if you want to continue in the job, and then you can go through a spell that you don't win games, and that's the moment that the ownership or the sporting director or whoever it is has to make a decision, and that varies and changes from club to club.
How has it made you feel, though, in terms of that you have been given that time to carry out your project here?
Well, very happy. Obviously, that's what we all wanted from the beginning, and between all of us, we have able to sustain and bring that stability, performance, joy, and progression to the club, and hopefully this season we're gonna even be better.
Okay, we'll go to Ian from Talksport.
Hi, Mikel. How are
Hi.
you?
Good, thank you.
Again, thinking about the change at Spurs, how does that impact on you for the North London derby? Because you've done all your work this season on taking on a team managed by one man.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you don't know who that man will be. You'll know before the day, but it'll be a completely different. How much, as a manager, do you then have to be flexible?
Well, I think it's happened a lot of times already this season for us. So at the end, you learn the lesson not only with the change of manager, but with what you expect from a manager to do against you as well, because they change it a lot this season. So focus more on us and make sure that what we want to achieve, the way we want to play, the things that want to happen in the game that happens many times in relation or no relation in what they would do tactically, because then the setup is one thing, the player profile is another thing, and the momentum of the game and context is something else. And we have to be able to adapt and recognize that and understand those clues to do what we have to do.
More than a quarter of the teams in the Premier League now have changed the manager this season overall. We've got specific windows when players can move. Should we have a similar thing for managers? A window so that
I don't want to get into that territory. I don't know. I think at the end, people have to have the freedom as well to decide what is the best way to do that. It's always been like that, so I don't know if changing it will help, will make it better. I have no clue.
A couple of quick ones to finish with. London derbies in general, you've got a fantastic record. Brentford haven't. Does form really go out the window in a London derby, or is it just another game of football?
It's going to be a really tough game. We know that the run that they are in, how strong they've been at home as well, the last few results that they had, the work Keith and the coaching staff are doing. Yeah, amazing. Big credit to them because they are a top side.
Hi, Mikel. I enjoyed the interview that you did with the amateur coach Alex Lodge recently.
I enjoyed it too.
In that, you talked about the reflections that you had as a coach, and one of them being how you recognised at the start of your time that you'd overcoached some players tactically, is what was mentioned. I'm curious what it was that you identified that made you realise in a moment. Like, how did you realise that you were tactically going too far, maybe, at times?
I don't know if I said that. I said probably that I put maybe more focus on the tactical and technical aspect than the other aspects. And that shift, because at the end, I think you have to recognize what the team needs, first of all, because as well to create a clear identity and way of playing, you have to insist in a certain way. You want to change the culture, you're going to have invest a lot and put a lot of effort into that. And now it's shifted because I think it's what the team needs as well, the level of understanding and what they have to do. It's very, very good, so we can focus in areas that we can develop that can give us a lot of value.
Is it also a case of when you obviously first join a club, you inherit a squad, and over those years gradually you build that squad with players that you've looked that are tailored to the specific roles that you'd like. Does that mean you have to tactically focus on?
Yes, and probably some of the things that I learned as well, that you can have an idea, you want to do certain things, but at the end, the players' qualities are the most important thing. And ask a player to do something that is not completely comfortable, is not natural, and it won't flow. It might work for a few actions, for a few moments, but in the medium long term, it doesn't. And that's probably the most important thing. That's respect the nature of the player and try to accommodate, if you can, in the qualities that they have.
Arthur, thank you.
And Mikel, you've spoken before about blocks of games and being able to prepare that way, and I think it's easy to do that maybe at the start of the season when you have the international breaks and that natural kind of blocks. When you come into this stage of the season where there isn't a break since, I guess, November until March, are you still able to do that, and how do you go about kind of navigating?
Yeah, we have done it in different ways, or the Christmas period, or afterwards when we have 4 away games, for example, and 4 different competitions. Now we are jumping from competition to competition every week as well. So it freshes it up. We try to do that to see what we have to do in a very short periods of time, but with the objective to be very present in what we have to do now and what is going to make the difference now in relation to what we want to achieve.
And with Martin, you said he's not available. Is there a kind of time frame? Because I think before the game...
I didn't say that then.
You didn't say that?
No,
Sorry.
no. I said Max.
Oh, Max.
Max
okay,
is not
okay.
available.
Okay, no problem.
My pronunciation is terrible. From Odegaard to Max.
We'll go to Matt from the Standard.
Hi, Mikhail.
Hi.
Martin Zubimendi is having the best goal scorer season of his career. Have you been surprised with how much he's been able to contribute?
Merino, credit to Merino. Merino is showing him the celebration, how to arrive in the box and everything. It's a player that the first time I spoke to him, he said that he had the feeling always that he was a bit constrained to go forward in the position that he's playing, and we try to give him the license in the right moments against the right opponents as well to attack those spaces, and he's been incredible.
How long after sort of working with him in training and seeing him up close did you know he had the ability to reach the levels we've seen this season?
To be fair, it's been more in games than in training, because in training as well, with the very little time that we have, we focus in other areas, but he has his natural ability to do that, so it's not a big credit to what we've done.
Okay, last two on the As Live. Harry from BBC.
Hi, Mikhail. Just one on Victor Gyökeres. Obviously, since the turn of the year, it feels like it's starting to click for him. He's starting to have the impact that people were hoping he would have. As his coach, you work with him every day. You know him. What's changed in your opinion? Can you give us some insight into what you think has led to this click happening now?
Not much. I mean, his work ethic remains the same. I think probably the energy, the confidence when you start to score an assist you probably believe that it's going to happen more often, and the probability of that happening then increases. And that's the only thing as well. I think physically as well after the injury, because when he got injured, probably he had his best game or the best 2 or 3 games before that period. When he got himself again fresh and available and training and a sequence of good matches there, I think everything lifted and now it's clicking.
As a coach, when a player is maybe suffering from a lack of confidence, generally speaking, what are some of the things that you try and do to help build that back up? Because obviously it needs to happen on the pitch, but you can do something, can't you, from the side?
Reminder how good they are and what they bring to the team. And if they are not bringing sets and passes, just remind them, and they don't lose sight of other aspects that are very important for the team, that he's contributing for the team success and winning. So it's not only with that. I think it's big part of our job is to remind people constantly the important things and the relevant things and the reason why they are with us.
Phil PA.
I appreciate earlier you said that obviously if you don't win a lot of games, you're basically vulnerable as a manager. Is 8 months enough time to be able to get your vision across in terms of what you want to achieve? Is it long enough?
I don't know, because you have to go, into those discussions and what they agreed on, how they saw the club or the evolution of the squad or the performances that are expected. I don't know. I can just talk about Frank, what I know as a coach, because I faced him many times, and how he prefers his teams and what he did at Brentford as well, or the way they looked in pre-season when we played them. And they were really impressive. So, yeah, but at the end as well, this league is so competitive. We are all vulnerable because anybody can beat you on the day, you know that, and that's very tough to manage.
So there isn't like a magic sort of number, or number of transfer windows to be able to...
It might be, I don't have it, for sure. I don't have no clue what that number is. No.